everybody, it's your world champion here, and we are back with more arc reviews. But I'm not alone with this journey because, we had a vote. My community had a vote. You guys wanted JoJo! Then fine. We'll talk about JoJo on the channel then, okay? We're going to start with part 1. We're going to do these arc reviews, and you'll see live reactions to JoJo lands. Hopefully that's not bad.
No.
But yeah, no. You guys wanted JoJo? Fine. Because there was a person that I forgot that I promised JoJo after Yu Yu Hakusho. And well, it's been a while. So Trevor will be your guest of honor here to help me talk about JoJo. Because this story is bizarre and I love it.
Yes, welcome, foolish mortals, to the haunted... record session. This has been so long in the works. I'm happy we finally get to do this. Yay!
Because JoJo is great, and
it is fantastic.
But yeah, so we're only going to cover the first 6 parts, mainly because they have an anime adaptation. So the day that part 7 is finally animated, maybe we'll do something for that. Maybe.
Please.
A certain thing that we probably should have done for Bleach when it was airing.
Oops.
Don't worry, there's another core coming in July.
Well, I need to organize like a little get together because I know you're on board. I just need to find like other Bleach fans so that we can talk about the first little core.
Tekken, join us.
Yeah, send this entire recorded session to Tekken on gmail.com. See if he accepts.
Hey, listen to us talk to JoJo. He's read JoJo, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
Or watched it, at least.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so yeah, we're only doing the first 6 parts until part 7. And then y'all already know the stuff about what I'm doing with JoJo lands after I catch up with part 8.
Nothing happens in part 8.
Much like the Hueco Mundo arc, nothing happens.
No, they don't. People don't understand the reference to CA Analysis's terrible stream.
Hey, look. Nothing happened.
I wish nothing happened.
And what a part to start with, because again, we're starting with part 1. And me and Trevor have a fun little story when it comes to our friend groups and part 1.
They all smell.
I mean, yeah. Because I really like part 1, even before this rewatch. Like, I really liked it. I think it's a solid part. Is it my favorite part? No, but we'll talk about that as we continue with this series. But Trevor, describe to the people what happens when part 1 gets brought up in our little friend group.
So it should be mentioned that, much like you, I too love part 1. I think, like, if I may be so selfish, I'm one of the only people that constantly am not afraid to champion this part over other parts.
Which is funny because JoJo is a champion. But anyways.
Like, everyone will be like, oh yes, part 5 is my favorite, part 3 is my favorite. And they're like, yeah, that's alright. I think part 1, I like part 1 more than those. And they're like, blasphemy. It's like, I'm sorry, I just like it more. That's how much I like part 1. You never forget your first JoJo. Never.
No, you don't. Ever.
I'm never gonna say that part 1 is like written better necessarily than the other parts.
Oh no, it's got its issues, but
like for me, it's like right in the middle. It's like 3rd or 4th favorite part.
Yeah.
Above Stardust and Stone Ocean. Barely Stone Ocean, though. Barely better than Stone Ocean.
Oh, yeah.
Not even better, just more favored. And then there's Stardust Crusaders, and then Golden Wind right under that. Not to call them bad!
Oh,
I'm not.
No, because see, that's the thing with the JoJo parts. Like, you could say, like, for me, for example, like, even though I love part 1, it's probably my 2nd least favorite JoJo part. But that's the thing. When you compare it to the rest of JoJo, like, there is a certain hierarchy, and it's not a bad thing. It's basically being like, hey, look at that red apple. That's a really good red apple. But right next to it is an even brighter red apple. It's like, okay, they're still really good apples, but I'm gonna reach for that kind of brighter one. That's fine to be. That's what JoJo Part 1 is. It's good. It's really good.
However, what we just said about like us liking Part 1,
yeah,
and especially for me, who I like it more than Stardust and Golden Wind and Barely Stone Ocean. Those takes, they're not exactly legal in the community.
yeah.
Part 1, it's viewed with like the same energy as like something I could do. How about the first Star Wars prequel, Phantom Menace, or Amazing Spider-Man 1? Well, people will go like, yeah, it was a thing. It set the groundwork for this. It's okay. It's not really good, but it did the job it needed to, and it might have been bad the whole time, but compared to everything else, of course it doesn't look that good. Like, no,
yeah.
That is illegal in our eyes.
so yeah, but before we talk about JoJo,
oh no,
I'm starting these off, and I'm going to be doing these for my other arc reviews that I do in the future. But welcome to Twitter Talks, where I asked you in Twitterland or on the community tab, whichever one I decide to do. I asked you about your thoughts and opinions on Part 1. So now, live on air, live, we're doing this live. I'm gonna read the 2 responses I got. But as this goes on, we'll have more, hopefully. I'm gonna start with Alves. Now, Alves is somebody from the Church of MHA, so thank you, Alves, for your wonderful, awesome response. Alves says, I like it a bunch, even if some things feel a bit contrived, like how they beat Tarkus and Blueford. It's a solid 8-episode run, and the bittersweet end hit me surprisingly hard. I think Jonathan's goodness is refreshingly pure, and Dio's journey from abuse to evil is a great origin.
Oh, okay, all right. You didn't have me in the first half, as the meme slightly goes. The second half I agreed with. 9 episodes, by the way. That's not even like a grammar Nazi. What even is that? If I correct technical parts, what kind of Nazi am I? Should we just rebut it now, or just wait till
well,
now?
I mean, you can rebut it. I don't really have many issues with.
So as someone that, just to prepare, rewatched literally right before Walkie Poo sent the link, I just got done with the Tarkus and Blueford duel spectacular.
Yeah.
I have no complaints about how JoJo beat Tarkus. Absolutely none. Because Zeppeli, he got pincered and cut in half. Unfortunate, very unfortunate. However, he then passes on all of his Hamon to Jonathan, and Jonathan, full of literal life, is like, all right, here's my power up, and it's like, I now have the energy to take down Tarkus. Like, yay! Blueford, it's a bit of a stretch, I'll admit. the logic is there. It's like, wait, that town he mentioned, it was a mining town. Wait, a mining town? Wait, then this place that is submerged, there must be pockets of air. It's like, oh, wait, okay, so that's how you're gonna get air? You're gonna take out a random pebble in this lake you're drowning in and hope there's air? Okay.
It's the video game logic. Find the air bubble.
Find Sonic's air bubble, and you will live for like 5 seconds. Yeah, that's weird that, oh, I thought you said it was fun for a second. No, I agree. It is very, the ending is very bittersweet. It's like, I feel like Part 1 could be compared to like a Greek tragedy, because you have JoJo, and he's like, man, his childhood sucked.
Especially when Part 3 starts.
Oh my god.
And then you're just like, because and we'll talk about it more when we get to Part 3, but like just having that knowledge when you reread or rewatch part one, it's like, oh, Jonathan, no,
How
no,
many good
buddy.
days did JoJo have? Like 3 months tops in his entire life?
Maybe, yeah, because like even after he beat Dio the first time, he had to basically prepare for war and get that call to action that every JoJo gets.
He still had to live with Dio
Exactly, for
after
7
the first
years.
pounding.
For
His
7
retaliation
years.
for winning was losing his doggo.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, one of his happiest memories is when he's lying in searing pain next to Arena. It's one of his happiest moments.
I don't really blame him for that one. You know, I wouldn't.
I know. It's just like every good day for JoJo, it's like a ticking time bomb. And when he finally beat Dio for the quote unquote final time, he had fucking how long? Just a couple months before the cruise of doom.
I know, Sydney, indeed. We'll talk more about that ending here in a little bit, because there's another opinion.
Thanks, Alves. I don't have a problem with you. We can go out for a shake sometime.
So our good friend Alti here.
No, delete.
He had a 2-part tweet that went with his.
Oh, it's 2 parts. Oh my goodness.
I know. I'll try to do my best Alti impression.
Oh.
Nah, I'm kidding. Okay, so Ulti says, it's a fun and simple story.
Fun?
I mean, I had fun with it.
Alright.
I told you, I messaged Trevor, I was just like, I watched the first episode again, and I started cracking up laughing at when Dio just knees Danny in the face.
Yeah, my girlfriend did not take kindly to that.
I mean, normally I would be like, oh, this bastard, but like, it's just, I think it's the, not the obscenity of it, it's the
shock value of
it's just the shock value of like, that's the first thing he does after leaping majestically.
Yeah, Sydney's outraged by this. It
after
senses
leaping
evil.
majestically into the air.
Smells evil.
Like, yeah. That's what I had fun with. But at the end of the day, when compared to all that comes after it, part 1 is the weakest part. Not the worst, mind you, because that would imply that it's bad, which it isn't. It lays down the path for the rest of the series to take off and run, which is what every season 1 should try to achieve.
Wait, what? Wait, I'm sorry to be a tech Nazi. If it's the weakest part, then by that logic, it is the worst part.
Plus, given its very short runtime and the streamlining the anime did with the material, it's always a blast to just throw on for an afternoon watch. All in all, if I had to give it a rating, I'd say 6 out of 10.
Only 6? Oh boy. I would actually be fine with the 7, but a 6? I don't know about that.
And, spoiler warning, I actually give Phantom Blood a 7.
Oh my god!
Yeah, again, it is that same logic with me too, with like, okay, the other parts are far better, but again, it's just that bright apple compared to the shiny apple. Like,
you never forget your first.
Exactly. So
for me, just to clarify why I put it over like Stone Ocean, Stone Ocean, Stars Crusaders, and Golden Wind, it's that breath of fresh air where everyone has that complaint. I feel like with Stars Crusaders, like, and the stand battles, they kind of get a little bit of a little overbearing at times. Like, it's fine. Oh man, I can't wait to talk about Stardust because I love that part. I love all of JoJo, much to probably people's surprise. Like, you don't like Golden Wind? Like, no, I never said that. I do.
Yeah, it's just lower on the totem pole.
Exactly.
But maybe opinions of that will change after revisiting.
Probably not.
Who knows? I've also been watching the dub, so
same.
I love the dub. It just adds to the campy cheesiness that is JoJo.
Thank God for.
And yes, I said campy.
Yeah, thank God for British Ichigo. I love him.
Yes.
And Jiren. who has actual emotion.
Jeering with emotion?
Yes.
Inconceivable.
That is. That's why would you get Patrick Seats to voice Dio? It's like, yes, give me more.
So anyways, that ends the Twitter Talk segment of the arc reviews. Now, we're going to go through these little bullet points I have of my passing thoughts during part 1. And they're in chronological order, blah, 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 whatever. My first bullet point here, George dies and Brando Daddy saves him. So everything from part 1 to 6 is all because of a greedy bastard.
Yeah.
Or riding your carriage in the rain.
Yeah, and something that's really cool about this that Araki is able to tie and everything is that it's just a wild stroke of fate that Dario Brando is able to find this, and then part 5 and part 6 are pretty much all about fate. About how it's like it's not even just like the magical concept of fate. It's like in a way it's gravity. It's the overall sense of how do I put this? You know how in part 4 I forget the guy's name, but it's the guy that has the marionette stand. He's like stand users are attracted to other stand users.
I was just gonna ask what part did that phrase come from? Because I remembered it in part 4.
Yeah, it's mentioned first time in part 4, at least in terms of the anime. I don't know about the manga. Maybe they did it earlier. But it's like, Araki has a way of making his world be like, the important characters to a story all find a way to just like slowly come together, whether it's for good or for bad.
But I really like how he did it, at least when he got to the stands part. How he used that to his advantage. Like, just like what you were saying with like the concept of each character, they're gonna meet each other or interact somehow with each other. Like, okay, I'm gonna incorporate it in that story, but I'm gonna have it connected to like these stand users because this is odd. I'm in this random town in Italy and there's a stand user. That's weird. That's suspicious. I don't know how that happened. I don't know, but we'll talk more about stands when we get to stands.
Yay! We have breathing to take care of.
Yeah, exactly. We have sun breathing. So yeah, that kind of kickstarts everything. What was Brando's name again?
Dario.
Dario, that's what it was.
Yeah.
We get to see a little bit of JoJo and Dio's upbringing with their father figures. And I love this because it shows like two sides of the same coin almost. Like, again, it's that fate thing. Like how JoJo, he's in this prim proper environment, yet he acts like a boor. And yet Dio is in a like this boorish environment, but he acts all prim and proper. And then like they couldn't be like further apart with their just with their personalities too. Like it's I don't know. It's something I really took notice during this watch through because I think I was thinking more about fate because of part 6.
And something else to note, both of them, like we could say whatever we want about the parenting styles of George and Dario, but you can tell that with both Dio and Jonathan, it's like they could both have the mindsets like, does my dad really like me that much? JoJo, it's like an unconditional love. But it's just very interesting to note that, hey, even in the past, before they even meet, JoJo and Dio, they have like a similar parent situation. Both their moms are dead. Both of their dads are, Dario's sort of abusive, while George is like very strict, very, he what's the word I'm looking for?
Part of me almost wants to say neglectful for a bit because we don't really see him doing much with Jonathan.
No, he's constantly berating. That's the word I was looking for. It's just a constant berate of JoJo's parents. Like, how come you can't eat your food right? No more dinner for you. How come you can't learn this right? And when Dio moves in, it's like, JoJo, what the hell are you doing? Why can't you be more like Dio? Why can't you be more like the guy that I envision? Yeah,
like why can't you be the ideal son like Dio is? Like this kid's from the slums, like, and because that's the thing. Like, to just kind of jump into that part, like George basically had a debt to pay with shoot, what was it? Was it a debt, or was it just like, yeah, because shoot, I Dario like saved George's life and all that, even though he's trying to be a greedy bastard.
Yep.
But yeah, that's why like Dio goes into the JoJo mansion, knees Danny in the face, and becomes the perfect son that any Joe star would want.
Yeah, well, I think what helps really sell the whole act that Dio's putting on is that it's not even entirely an act. Dio is smart, he's calculated, he's poised, like you mentioned. He's orderly, and that's what George is looking for, that order. He just has no idea that Dio is a conniving little shit.
Exactly. And how conniving, you may ask? Well, fighting kind of already starts with these two young
12-year-olds.
Trodden boys. Oh wait, shoot, they are 12 in this. Oh god.
Yeah.
They're more like 13-year-olds, but whatever. That's a whole different thing. And this kind of goes into the topic that you were kind of talking about earlier about like, has Jonathan ever had a good day?
Nope.
Because this is when all those bad days start happening.
Yeah.
He loses in a fight against Dio, and Dio, like, it's so cool because this is what like Araki's showing you, like, this is how my battles are gonna be, just in a simple little boxing match. Because you have this moment where Dio's just thinking in his head, like, all right, after I punch JoJo in the eye, or like in the face, I'm gonna move my thumb just a little bit, just so it could get to his eye. Like, you're seeing just in that little moment how confrontations and fights are gonna go in JoJo.
Yeah, especially with the whole trope of I don't know, well, I guess it is a trope where you get explanations by the characters or by the narrator about everything that's going on. It's a welcome sight, but that is one of the biggest flaws of JoJo as an entire series, where it's like some people can easily be turned off by just like, oh, okay, you explained it to me, but that's all it really was. It didn't feel like a natural thing. I can't begin to tell you how many times in JoJo where a character, it looks at this situation, they're like, oh yes, that reminds me of the Yasukawa bullet train, which moves at 78 miles per hour, or it covers 300 meters in 3 seconds.
That's the awesome part about JoJo, because it's just like, wait, why do you have that knowledge?
And that's what I mean, is like,
yeah,
I appreciate the knowledge drop to explain to me what happened, but it did not feel natural at all. But there's a campiness to it that I personally can enjoy, but I can see why others are like, what the fuck was it? What?
Yeah. And also kind of with that too, it's just like, kind of like what I was saying too, it's just like, for me, it's just like the execution of what he's trying to show everybody. It's kind of like in like Mega Man X, for example. You learn as you go and as you do. And I don't know, this is just kind of Araki being like, hey, here's a little bit of information to get you ready for what's about to happen. It's you learning how to move in Mega Man X. Oh, does Dio stop there?
No. Oh god, no. He ruins JoJo's reputation by just calling him a filthy liar. The irony. He steals he steals all of his friends. And the ultimate crime is the meme that everyone goes for.
The meme.
You thought your first kiss would be JoJo, but it was I, Dio!
Which will probably be the background of this video. Or at least this section of the video. Future walk-ins, make sure that happens.
Future walk-ins, make sure that doesn't happen. That's right. Here's a dilemma you'll never be able to escape.
Future walk-ins knows who pays his rent.
Me, in love.
So So does the meme,
and then he assaults he assaults someone. That's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah, like so basically what we're saying is, so JoJo had a lovely little lady friend, a very lovely lady friend, and back in the 1800s, you don't normally, go right in for a kiss on somebody. I mean, you don't do that now anyways, because, sexual harassment. But Oh, back then, no. It was like it was almost like you. Well, I'm not gonna say that on stream.
Do
I
it.
will say surprised sex somebody.
A surprise party to celebrate my perfect on-time percentage at work?
You know.
So, Dio does that to Erina.
Yeah, and I want to give major props to Arena just because of you may think like, oh shit, she got kissed by the borderline version of Gaston in this universe, at least with how Dio has been presented himself. Like he's a super cool guy, talk of the town, the leader of the town pretty much, and he just kisses Arena, and Dio is so confident that you for a second you believe, oh my god, yeah, he could probably like win Arena over. He's that charismatic. Something that comes back in part 3. And then
part
Arena.
5.
Oh yes, and
And
part
part
5.
6.
Oh yes, and definitely part 6.
Yeah.
And Arena is like that was disgusting and horrible. I'm going to wash out my mouth with mud. And it's like, you are very committed to JoJo, and you are literally, aside from his soon-to-be dead dog, you're the only constant good thing in his life.
Exactly.
And you don't even see him for like 7 years after that.
And that's the crazy part, because now we just get a 7-year time skip, and oh well, this is after like they have their first little fight,
Which is great.
It is
Cathartic.
great.
Becky
That's
was
so
screaming out of the bed when she first saw that. It's like, get him!
as she should, because after the surprise sex happens, Jonathan confronts Dio as any person would with their significant other getting surprise sexed, and tries to beat him up. And keyword tries, because Dio's a little cunning, but this is where we see that Jonathan, like, he's got a fire in him. He's a lion.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind, lion.
I punch him back and he comes back and tries to beat us.
Good lines. But yeah, 7 years pass. JoJo and Dio, they, on the outside, they make it look like they're basically brothers, but you get these like separate monologues from each other inside of their heads, just being like, I fucking hate this guy. I want to murder him. I want him dead. I want him out of here. Get him out of here. He needs to get out of my life. JoJo. Well, where did that come from? That came from somewhere deep within me. I wonder if that's going to come back anytime soon. So yeah, 7 years pass, and JoJo's studying this mask that fell off a wall during his and Dio's little scuffle. Trevor, what does this mask do exactly?
Well, for you see, thousands of years ago, when the gods were still young, so young that Yu Yu Hakusho was nothing more than the glint of the eye of a young Asian, there were 3 magical Aztec vampires.
Wait, hold on, that's part 2 talk.
Long story short, they had a cult, and then the cult died, lol. Rafflecopter. And one day, George Josar and his wife, Mouthpiece, find the mask. This magical mask. They don't know what it does. They don't even know if it's like anything special. But, it's like this artifact. And George, well, he likes archaeology from the bare amount of characterization we get from him. He's like, oh, okay, you like that shit. All right, it's fine, whatever. Hang it up on your wall. Who cares? When the blood of JoJo is splattered on the mask, something weird happens. The mask sprouts little spider legs. It's like, falls on the ground, and it's like, that was weird. I almost called him Gio. Dio and JoJo noticed this, and Dio and JoJo, again, showing an awesome similarity as seen in the first episode. They both take an interest in the stone mask, but for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
Like, JoJo just wants to study it. Dio's like, I'm gonna murder JoJo with this mask. It'll be the perfect murder.
Yeah.
You will never see it coming.
Yeah.
And it turns out that this mask, this Aztec mask that was coined by Araki, this Aztec mask, if you get blood on it and you happen to wear the mask when it spreads his little spider legs, it turns you into a motherfucking temperature controlling special powered vampire. So one night, one fateful night,
while Jonathan's out meeting Best Waifu Speedwagon,
ah yes,
you know, because we get Speedwagon.
Yay!
Best waifu.
Best one of the chads in all of JoJo. Like in terms of like the Joe Bros, that's what they're called. Like the main sidekicks. Speedwagon is so like heavily dissed or thrown to the side for the others. Like, I don't blame you for choosing people like Bruno or Gyro. Gyro just fucking clears everyone off the board. But hey, give Speedwagon his dues.
We'll wait for part 7. We're only sticking with
I know.
parts 1 through 6.
I just want to mention that Speedwagon's really good. He's like top tier human.
He is. Like, he had, man, the respect he gained from Jonathan during their little scuffle, and then just traveling with him through all of this. Just, I love Speedwagon because like he made that connection, and it didn't just last in only Jonathan's time. Speedwagon like made this spoiler alert for part 2 or whatever, but Speedwagon made like a foundation that basically helped the Joestar family.
Yeah, like Speedwagon he encompasses all generations.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think we ever see any of the Speedwagon descendants, do we?
Oh no, because Speedwagon was all alone.
Yeah. So like his foundation, even though he had no living relatives that we at least know of, or at least that I don't know of. I don't know if you know of anything more, but like the fact the foundation still helps out the Joestar family in many insane ways just speaks to Speedwagon as a character.
Yeah, like he set this all up. Wooly from the old Super Best Friends crew, he made an amazing comment during his playthrough of Eyes of Heaven, where it's like, you have the JoJo family, and the stand of the JoJo family is the Speedwagon Foundation.
Yep. Yeah. That's basically it.
Like, they would all be dead if it were not for the Speedwagon Foundation.
Yeah. But yeah, Speedwagon's helping Jonathan because he's trying to... Is this where he's trying to figure out if Dio's poisoning the dad?
JoJo pretty much figures out like, holy shit, you have been poisoning him. But as soon as I find the person you've been buying it from, I'll have connected all the dots, and I will make sure that I identified the poison so we can get accurate medicine to treat this.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Dio is just like, he might fall on my plans. He's gonna die in that alley because he's just a posh little gentleman, but, you know, I'm gonna go out drinking. And he hates the fact that he even is like drinking one beer because it reminds him of his dad. It's it's a great character.
The fact he acknowledges that too is just like, I'm no different than my own father. Like, in sheer anger at that. Like, dude, yes. Angry daddy issues, love it. So, Dio, drinking, walking down an alley, meets 2 other drunks. It's experimenting time.
One guy goes down pretty easy. Yeah, the other one, oh boy, he becomes the first canonical vampire.
He became the head vampire.
The head vampire, but you also have to find the head vampire.
Yes, they did this whole reorganization thing a couple of 100 years ago. Doesn't make much sense to me,
so he is the head vampire. Gotcha.
Yes. I don't remember the rest of the Groove Adventures bit. Shit.
Me either. But, hey, Dio almost dies here.
Yeah, he was literally on death's door.
Yeah. And then, again, it's that fate thing. And this is, again, a Rocky telling you all the rules in just a very fun way. Like, okay, Dio found out that you could turn into a vampire that doesn't die unless it gets hit by the sun.
It's like, oh, that's it. Okay, I'll plan around that.
Yeah.
I love this.
Exactly. It's great. It's awesome. And Dio goes back to the mansion because he's like, I'm gonna kill the Joestar family. Their blood will make me powerful.
I also like how he's under that like until that point he's under that assumption that all it takes is JoJo's blood.
Yeah.
But one random guy, he's like, oh shit, this has got a lot easier for me.
Yep. Just like, oh, I don't have to play nice anymore. Okay, fine, let's do this. And so off to the JoJo mansion he goes, and this is where everything just kind of hits the fan.
Yeah. Oh man, Becky was re-in pretty much at this entire episode. He's like, you see Dio turn himself in, and Becky does not believe it for a second, because we know that he's been planning something evil. Then he tries to attack JoJo. He's like, oh my god, and then oh my god, George Joestar with the R knife O out of nowhere gets stabbed in the back, and he's like, perhaps I treated you too harshly. Bleh. Dies. And well, that blood is what Dio needed. And what do they get? What does Dio get? Shot.
Yep.
By a firing squad. And Becky was like, yay! And it's like, you think that's it? They're guns. Indeed. Those are guns that he was shot with.
Those are guns, yes. That's also a mask on his face.
And you think, alright, all is well, because we have to have the death scene where George dies, and JoJo's like, man, I will live on, I will carry the legacy of you, Father. Please give me strength as I continue. And boy, did he need it.
Did he ever?
A man gets half of his face clawed off, very casually, I might add. He was just there. He's like, yes, I am reborn. I am the head vampire now. And everyone's like, well, shit. We're dead. Although, I do want to mention a bit of a Tismy thing that I found funny on rewatch.
Oh, do tell. I might have caught it too.
Dio is like in triumphant mode. It's like, I slaughter the police. Everything will die now. JoJo gets injured already. And Dio's like, now to kill you. Where did JoJo go? Where did he go?
He just disappears.
You can't hide from me. And then some Scooby-Doo level shit. Dio pulls back the curtain, somehow not noticing that everything's on fire.
And then we get the epic fire battle,
which is great.
It's so manly. Just like, and Speedwagon's narrating outside. He's just like, look at what JoJo's doing, and then describing. He's just like, he went up to the roof of the house. I couldn't think of the word roof for some reason. He went up to the roof of the house so the fire could spread in the house, and he could bury Dio in the fire himself. And he tries to bury Dio, but this mansion is a lot taller than it looks on the outside.
Yep.
Because they fall for a long time.
A long time.
But then when Dio finally falls, he lands on, the guardian angel of the Joestar family.
Yep.
Just more of that fate thing, but this was an epic fight. Things happened. Indeed, Sydney. Sydney loved it, as you could hear. It's just set a precedent because you're seeing the tenacity of what we're gonna be seeing with the other JoJos through Jonathan. Again, Jonathan is the blueprint, and that's A-OK because he's a damn good blueprint.
One of the best JoJos. In my humble opinion, I think he's one of the best main characters.
Does he have string?
Well, technically, he stretches his arm out like string. Yeah, he spun blood. His bones spawned thanks to Dio in that first fight.
But can he grow a tree?
Yeah, he did. He did in episode
Eventually.
4.
When he learned Hamon
Yeah.
from second best waifu.
The second best waifu.
At least the family.
Ah, I see.
Yes, Zeppeli comes into play, and this is where we get the power system of at least the first 2.5 parts. I only say half because Joseph uses it sometimes in part 3.
He uses it like twice.
He uses it sometimes. You know,
Twice.
That's enough for half. You know? Right, Sydney? That's enough for half. Yeah. What? So yeah, JoJo learns Hamon, which is a breathing technique that harnesses the power of the sun.
Yep. I have a confession. Even on rewatch, I kept thinking to myself, like, Araki has this kind of amazing habit that I always keep falling for, no matter what. Where he shows the power system. It's like, this is how it works. I'm like, okay, so that is what it does. Okay, all right, I see. So you take a breath, and then you can manipulate the energy that surrounds all living things. Okay, that's fine. That's easy. And then Araki does stuff like, oh, well, human beings emit a magnetic field all the time. They use that to magnetize an army of leaves that surround them to make a glider. It's like, what?
I mean, that's good enough.
It's like an explanation that should not work. But I'm so happy that he does. It's like he always finds new ways to reinvent, or not reinvent, like new applications of it. And I really appreciate that it may come out of nowhere, but there's always an explanation for it.
Yeah. It might be a far off explanation, but there's an explanation for it, and it gets, I mean, with lack of a better word, it gets more bizarre
He said it!
as the series goes on.
To the point where universe stuff happens.
Funny Valentine.
Oh yes, my boy.
Part 8, what I'm currently on.
I'll get there eventually.
Just opening and closing. That's all I'm gonna say. If you're watching this video and you've read part 8, I'm on the opening and closing segment. I'm not that far, and it's like chapter 16 or something.
If you read part 7 manga like a Chad, then just know that you should take the first napkin and be one of those first people to hit the like button.
Yep.
And even if you're not, then follow the crowd. Join the bandwagon that Funny Valentine set forth, and just like the video and subscribe to Watkins.
Do it. Pick up that napkin.
Or else I'll go to your universe.
Yeah, so why is JoJo learning Hamon? Well, apparently Dio's still alive.
Ta-da!
So in the brief, what was it, like couple months, because, you know, he needed to recover from getting third-degree burns everywhere, and he had to get his Mac on with Erina, who came back into his life.
Yep. I love that Speedwagon wants to cheer him up. Then he sees Arena, and he's like, I am not needed for this.
Secretly inside, he's just like, dang.
Can't believe this. I lost.
I lost to her. Fine, JoJo. I will be in your friend zone then.
I will find a girl of my own. Dies 80 years later.
But yeah, Dio survived, and Zeppeli's tied to the mask. Because it was his family that dug it up, wasn't it?
I believe it was his dad that dug it up, and they brought it on the ship, and the entire crew, well, most of the crew got murdered.
Yeah, by his dad.
What?
And then the mask floated and got to Joestar, and now we're here.
Do you believe in gravity?
About that later.
I know, it's just it's like poetry. It all rhymes back together.
Exactly. Yes, midichlorians.
No, okay, maybe not everything.
Oh, Ray Skywalker.
No, that wasn't even mine.
But back to something that's actually good.
Yes.
Jonathan learns Hamon, and he goes with Zeppeli and Speedwagon to find and hunt down Dio and kill him and murder him.
What's interesting is that Zeppeli, and rightfully so, he's not even really interested in Dio per se. He is more interested in the mask. He knows, like, he doesn't have that personal connection to Dio, so all he sees when he sees Dio is like, you're just the latest victim of the mask. You're just another beast that needs to be taken care of.
Well, he's also like deeply connected with JoJo too, because like, again, he has that respect for him. He's just like, you know what, my buddy needs to take care of something, and he needs some backup, so I'm gonna go with him.
Oh yeah, and it's just like, when it comes to Dio, he just views him as a beast. He's only focused on that mask the whole time. It's like, I find that very interesting, because in later JoJo parts, you just have everyone be like, no, I just hate die, kill the villain.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't really get those like grander scheme characters, like a grander perspective for quite a while. I really appreciate that it was in part 1.
Exactly. Again, the blueprint. It's setting everything up. But yeah, they fight off a couple of Dio's little minions and all that. We see like we kind of go back and forth between Dio and JoJo, and we see like Dio basically being king vampire.
Yeah, pretty much.
Trevor, do you want to describe the baby scene?
Oh, we're going right to episode 7. Okay.
Let's just talk about the baby scene while we're talking about Dio and
all right.
getting his armies together. And...
This also allows me to address a criticism that many people bring up, and I don't know why. I really don't understand why people say this. You viewers might have seen this before, where part 1 isn't bizarre enough. Part 1, as Oti said, it's pretty simple. It's too simple. Or it's like, Dio part 1 isn't even that big of a villain. He's just too simple. You know what I mean? No. Episode 7 and 8, and technically very little of 9. It shows you just how far-reaching Dio's evil is. Because Dio wants one thing. Now that he has the power to take over the world, fuck the Joestar legacy. The world is right there. One could say Zawarudo is there for the taking. So Dio he gets a castle, because of course he did. He then experiments with his powers. What do you mean by experiment? Well, this is like addressing the whole part. It's like, oh, does anything really that bizarre happen in part 1? All you get is breathing and vampires. Like, he took the doll, he basically made the body of a tiny griffin and slapped a man's head on it.
Yeah.
And gave it the tongue of a snake.
He put a man inside of a horse.
He put Jack the Ripper. He made Jack the Ripper a vampire, and so that he could live in a horse to surprise attack his foes.
He revived 100-year-old soldiers
to fight on his behalf because he just wants to screw with Jonathan and kill him, but really screw with him.
But that's all of this pales in comparison
to one of the most fucked up things in the entire series.
So yeah, please describe this.
Scene in question is a woman. Oh my god, I know. In 1800 times, very rare for a woman to be existing. Especially in a shonen manga about males. Oh, gross, disgusting. Gaston was right all along. But anyway, this woman is like very obviously trapped by Dio. And Dio, he's trying to put the moves on her. It's like, hey, wanna be an immortal vampire? Wanna be by my crew? She's like,
Wanna be
but my
Nakama?
baby.
Wanna be my Nakama?
But my baby. And it's like,
Nakama.
it's like, please don't hurt my baby. And Dio is like, all right, fine. I won't hurt your baby. You have my word. Take those exact words into mind. I, Dio, will not hurt your baby. Writes it out in cursive blood on his wrist or something. And it's like, but who knows what else could happen? He turns the woman into a vampire. And it basically leads off on like, wow, you turned into a vampire. You must be hungry, right? And you see this baby crying. Practically, as all babies do, crying. And you know babies, they are sentient, but they have no comprehension. It must be terrifying to be a baby, especially if you're in a vampire castle. Imagine the utter fear that a baby could be feeling, where it can barely feel, but all it feels is cold fangs, cold death, as his own mother, the very thing of creation that gave spawn to this innocent baby, consumed it head to toe.
I is a baby! Oh, aye, baby! The other white meat!
One of the most evil acts done in, I would say, not even in the entire series, I think just like in general, because there's usually like an unwritten rule of don't fuck with babies, and Araki's like, fuck it.
Fuck that. I'm gonna fuck with them.
Let's kill all the babies, and everyone's like,
with
no!
a dog earlier. I already messed around with a puppy.
I have a feeling it's a conspiracy theory. I have a feeling he did that to the baby to really push the limits. Like, yes, he's so evil, isn't he? And all the editors at the time were like, never do that again. We're fine with dogs and cats, but
we're
never
fine.
do that again.
We're good now. We've met our quota. Don't do it again, please.
For the love of God, please don't.
I always find it funny that he could get away with that, yet two women, possibly being love interests.
Well, hey, lesbians are worse than babies. It's just canonical at this point with JoJo Part 6.
Yeah, I guess.
The ultimate power, lesbians.
We'll get really gay in here during part 5, but anyways.
Yes.
So yeah, Dio sends minions out, and the two most notable ones are the soldiers that he revived from like a few hundred years ago, and
they have really cool backstories.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, and I love it.
Yeah. The first fight's actually, I think, probably one of my favorites.
Just in part 1, or like in general?
Just in part 1. Yeah.
That's understandable. I really liked it.
Yeah, because it does that thing where it's like, okay, he was actually, he still had humanity in him, but he still has to die. Like, he has to die a warrior's death, basically. Yeah. And this is like the honorable version of that. What was the first guy's name again?
Oh, Bluford.
Bluford, that's right, because Tarkus coming up here. He's the opposite end of that dying a warrior's death. He's more like a Zaraki kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing about these two knights is that they used to be really cool dudes in the past. And it's known throughout this one episode that everyone in England knows their story and respects the shit out of them because they were all known about honor and serving their queen. But one day, their queen kind of... She just died at the hands of treachery and just downright evil people. In response, because of the treachery that happened to this queen, the knights swore revenge, but they took it down to the grave. So, as Speedwagon points out, they've had 300 years just fermenting their revenge, or they're not even really like evil revenge, like
poetic justice.
And then a fucking British Ichigo shows up. It's like, we have a target now.
Katsuga? Oh, wait.
Oh, I have a feeling. Maybe. I'm gonna tie it all to one piece. Are you ready for this?
No.
Stop me if you've heard of this one before. A character that's better than the MC in every conceivable way during their fight, but over time gains that main character's respect, and the main character in turn respects the shit out of him. And he gets the win because he uses his ingenuity.
Yep.
It's Katakuri, everyone.
I knew you were gonna go there. I was just waiting for it.
Yeah, it's just like there's so many like cool themes in this one battle. It's like Bluford goes for the kill, but Jonathan he finds new ways, and with every new way to fight back, he just impresses Bluford more and more to the point where you get this really cool line. It's like it's a battle line where it's like, I feel no pain from this, and then JoJo is like, wait, you feel? And it's like,
no,
Baka.
Baka. It's just like, why are you saying Baka? We're in England.
It's that really cool realization. It's like there is subtext to be had in part one. Everyone, even Ulti said, it's like it's a very simple story. There's a lot you can read into this stuff. It's really cool.
It's almost like, there's a lot of depth in a simple story.
Yeah. I can't even say well, there's an example that's really cool. If I may, in the show, Star Wars show, the only good one, Andor, where there's a scene where Cassian Andor is walking down the street and he gets confronted by these two guys. One guy wants Andor's money, while there's this big alien right behind Andor. And Andor, he's not fooled by this because he knows these two people. It's a very simple scene. He's like, the whole scene is like, oh, you're gonna take my money? No, I know you. Don't take my money. What the hell? No. So he goes in front, he goes talk to his friends, I will get your money when it's time. And you pulled Verth into this, and Verth is this big alien standing right behind him. You brought him in here to intimidate me? I know Verth. We're friends, right, Verth? Right. And that's where it is.
Oh, God.
It's like, why did you... And after Andor walks away, the gangster looks at Verth, and Verth is like, what? You brought me here.
What?
That's what I did. I'm too simple, but you can pull so much from that. Yeah, and so there's so much you can pull from that. It's great.
See, it's almost like being simple is great.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Eden's is a champion of that.
Oh yeah. But yeah, Bluford dies an honorable death, like a warrior, the good one, and all that. And then we get the leaf glider. Trevor already talked about that.
There's so much hormone stuff in here that we skipped over, but it's the same thing. It's like, that doesn't seem legal in terms of how a power system works.
Fine,
but then you get an explanation. It's like, okay, I see.
Yeah, Hamon.
That's really it.
Yeah, that's all it is. And JoJo, oh my god, we didn't really talk much about the Hamon training, but
yeah, he trained for it.
Yeah, he even had to hold a full glass of wine while trying to fight off an undead vampire.
Not just any undead vampire. It's Jack the Ripper.
And he did good. He
actually succeeded with flying colors according to Zeppeli.
Yeah. And he became a Hamon master.
Yay!
And then we get sunlight overdrive, and
there's so many forms of yellow drive, and it's really cool that Hamon passes through material, but it's not just the skin. He can pass through metal stuff too, and that's really cool. It's that's how he won against Bluford, which is why I didn't get Alvis's. I think that was Arvis's comment about how the fight with Bluford seemed contrived and how JoJo won. It's not really. He just conducted his Hamon through what he could. He just couldn't touch the hair, so he broke free of the hair when he could and used the sword to get the blow in. And Bluford is like, got me good, brother. Got me good.
And then Jonathan takes the sword with him. That's so good.
Oh,
But-
and gets all of Zeppeli's power because of, well, I mean, do you want to talk about the
I mean,
curse of the
there's not-
Zeppelis?
There's not much. I mean, the Zeppelis are always destined to die. I know this, and this person, when I was trying to read part 7, I'd be like, when is Gyro's dying?
He's never dead.
And when is he dying?
I never lied because he lives in our hearts. Fucker.
You know, you kept trying to get me to not be prepared for what happened.
And I succeeded.
I still wasn't prepared. Much like Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War anime.
I was right.
Just not ready. Just not ready. And neither will you be whenever you get to around watching it. So Tarkus is little. I even struggle calling this a fight.
It's like a struggle.
Yeah, it's just a struggle against a force of nature. So JoJo has the unfortunate task of having to fight Tarkus. Now, okay, fine. He's already beat one undead soldier. What's another one? Well, this one likes torture.
Brought him to his own secret room for that.
Yeah. That they just happen to be at, but you know, gravity.
Well, I mean, it's yeah, I
know.
can see it is a bit of
Yeah.
a stretch, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's whatever. But this is where we get the whole Zeppeli thing, because you know he had trained in Hamon with some monks, and which we'll meet them later on. Good old Tom Petty. So he trained with Tom Petty, and he got his future looked at, or like he wanted to know his future, because the whole thing with Zeppeli was he wanted to make sure that his life was meaningful. Like that's why he wanted to know when he was going to die, because he wanted to make sure that he could get to that moment and accomplish exactly what he wanted to do. Basically, his life's mission would be how he died. And he gets
There's so much you could pull from that.
I know it's so good, but like the only thing he gets is that, and correct me if I miss anything here, but the setting is a prison, and you have to free a young lion for it to grow and all that. It's something along those lines.
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
it's obviously philosophical to a point.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I see.
And so, what happens here in this little scuffle with this Tarkus guy, JoJo is hooked up to him via like a chain dog collar, basically, and Tarkus has like pulled this thing so hard and so tight that JoJo is basically on the ceiling about to have his neck broken.
Yeah.
And so it's up to Zeppeli, who is lucky enough to get in there because they have a kid with them that was part of this whole plan for Dio to trick JoJo and try to kill him and all that.
Which is great.
It is great, yes.
I always thought, like, I didn't even catch that on my first watch. I thought there was like just some kid that wanted to steal from.
He hypnotized him.
Yeah, and I never caught on to that on my first
Mhm.
watch. And I always labeled it like that was a bit convenient, but no, I was wrong. It's like, oh sweet, hell yeah. Woo!
No, don't worry. I realized it during this rewatch. I was just like, wait, because I was in the same boat. I thought it was just chance. But then it was, again, this watch through, I'm like, wait, oh, Dio hypnotized him. Oh, shit.
All for a way to like lure him into one specific spot during the sunlight.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Zeppeli goes in there to die because as soon as he steps into the jail, he realizes, oh, this is it. This is the moment. Okay, then. And yeah, he gets cut in half very brutally and gives the rest of his Hamon to Jonathan and dies.
And
So
there's
good.
like, there's even that little bit of hope that you can have because like he could be overthinking it to a point. Like he could have thought like, oh, this could be my death, but it could have not been my death too.
Yeah,
Can't
exactly.
be this, but it's like you get that curse where he gave it his best shot. He dies for it. He
Yeah.
died as he lived, fighting the mask. And
But,
he never
like-
really was the mask itself. He never, like, his life's work was trying to find the mask. He found it, but he can never do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly.
However,
That's why he had to get Jonathan involved.
exactly. And then something really cool happens that I didn't even conceive of on my first watch through.
Mhm.
Only on this one. Like, what is this, rewatch number 5 now for me? Where it's like, wait a sec, a mentor given all of the energy that he had built up over his experience, and he gives it to a younger version, practically like a young mentee, a young student,
Yeah.
and ends up being this freakish monster.
I know where you're going with this.
Tagashi, where are you with your notes?
Takashi Senpai.
Yusuke and Genkai, anyone? I was like astounded. It's like, how come I never caught up on this? How'd I never see that Tagashi probably took inspiration from this?
You see, when a man and a woman love each other very much,
But it's such like a very nice moment where like Zeppelin's like, I am down, but my life's work, it's not going in vain. Here you go.
yeah.
And it's that energy that practically saves the earth in a way. Because Jonathan, he's with all this new energy literally coursing through his being. It's like what, decades of energy poured into him? Of course he'll be able to break the chain now of fate. Of course he could do that shit now.
And we see, like, after all this, when they, like, you know, beat Tarkus and bury Zeppeli, and just Speedwagon again, just being best girl. Just he takes up the hat that Zeppeli had.
Yeah.
And like it's one of those touches that's just like, you know, you didn't have to do that, but this just makes sense. And I love it.
There's a Speedwagon moment I want to talk about quickly. It's the whole moment of when how do I put this? It's the moment when it's after the first Dio fight, and Zeppeli was hurt by this encounter, where his arm is frozen. He can't do anything to help JoJo. So Speedwagon's response is, I've heard that in Antarctica, people cured frostbite by just putting frozen pieces of someone's body onto something warmer, like a seal's insides.
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Yeah.
And he literally sacrifices his like abs and risks being frozen as well just to thaw out Zeppeli in the hopes that we can help JoJo.
Yeah.
Speedwagon, best Chad,
best waifu.
one of the best JoJo side bros ever.
So yeah, Zeppeli died, and we get to meet his colleagues and his teacher
At the worst possible time.
at the worst time, as they're going to this hometown of the little boy that they picked up, the little thief, because they gotta save his hot sister.
Your sister's hot, Wayne. There, I said it.
No.
Yes,
4 out of 10.
because Dio has taken her hostage.
Which is a... we like, this is what it's all been building up to.
Yep.
Ultimate final battle of...
Dio versus JoJo.
Can he defeat a cross-split attack? Or will he suffer?
Well, much like the cross-split attack.
What a ridiculous attack in hindsight.
No, it's like, I'm gonna jump in the air and then give you a downward kick, but guess what? I'm gonna spread your arms apart and hit you with Hamon.
I like how no one really goes for... Like, everyone's just like, oh, the obvious answer is like, oh, you lost your momentum. I'm like, yes. However, if you block the legs, you've opened the guy up to a free crotch shot from your legs.
Yeah.
It's so easy to counter and dodge.
It's also, you know, you don't have to grab him. You can just walk to the left.
You can duck.
You can just you could jump too.
You could slightly do a little bunny hop and that would work.
Exactly. But no, everybody has to grab his leg.
Oh my lord.
He dies.
Yay!
And then Tom Petty and oh crap, what's his name again?
Oh, Straight So?
Straight So, yep. They fight some vampires and all that because JoJo can only defeat Dio.
Only Link can defeat Ganon.
Which they have a cool fight.
I like it a lot, honestly.
With like Dio cut in half, and he's just like, actually, no. See, since I can freeze everything, your Hamon's useless.
All right, let me just go ahead and punch
Useless.
this lantern to get more than enough fire in me.
Useless.
The first useless rant.
Useless. Which we haven't really talked about the dub yet.
The dub was great.
The dub just adds to the craziness that is JoJo.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
I do too. Like, by no means is it like, to me at least, is it the best dub? Like, not really.
That's the Brazilian Portuguese.
Exactly, but it just fits.
I know, like it's. I find it hilarious that even in this current year, there will always be a no. The dub sucks. And it's like there's good and bad things in the dubs, my dude.
There's good and bad things in both of them. You're right. So JoJo supposedly kills Dio here.
Yay,
And-
he did it. We can finally have a happy life.
Can we?
I can live that Yoshikage Kira dream where it's like I just want a quiet and peaceful life.
And hands.
Yes, hands of Arena that will constantly hold on to me because Jesus Christ, she's the literal only warm embrace I will have ever felt in my life.
But yeah, like, okay, yeah, so the time passes. I know we didn't talk much about the Dio JoJo fight.
It's just like a really cool fight.
Yeah.
It's just testosterone facing off against each other.
Exactly. It's just two men slapping meat.
Big meaty man slapping meat.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, JoJo has some actual happy days now as he marries.
More like great days. Break down, break down.
No, not yet.
Ah!
We can't get to one of the best openings yet.
One of? Nani?
Yeah, one of.
How dare you? Oh, I will talk to my attorney about this.
Look, Bloody Stream exists, so.
Look. Heaven's Fallen Down exists.
Look.
Fighting gold. Anyway.
Oh yeah, this opening.
Oh,
is great.
Sonochino Sademe.
I love it.
It's one of the best, honestly. Or not even
especially-
like one of the best, just one of my favorites.
Yeah, especially the last one with the sound effects.
Yes.
Yes.
Starting a long trend that I really appreciate.
Mhm.
Wait. Did part 6 do the sound effects? I feel like they did.
I don't know. I might have skipped it.
They might. No, because we watched the last episode together. I think they had sound effects, pretty sure.
Okay. I just remember the little bit that they added that you wanted me to see.
Which was so cool.
We'll get to that one day. Don't worry. It's all worth it. It's all fate, right, Sydney?
gravity.
It's all gravity here. Yeah, JoJo gets some time to actually be happy. You know, he gets married, he gets closer with his friend.
He got to stick it in his old girl when she's gonna be preggers.
They have a trip to America planned. Like, it's great, you know? Things are looking good, and they have a nice little dinner with wine, and it's great. I know, Sydney, you don't want me to get to the part.
As one Bubsy Bobcat would say, what can possibly go wrong?
Exactly. Well, one of Dio's minions is on the boat.
Vegeta, you're back!
Who has disturbed my...
Hey, best buddy.
Oh, it's you.
And JoJo's just like, oh. Because this whole time he's kept Erina, like, away from all this, as he should.
Yes, as he should.
Like, as he should. And so he's just like, oh, that's one of Dio's minions. I have to get rid of him. Erina, you stay here for a moment.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take
please
care of
do
this.
not move. Stay with these civilians.
And in move that will later also happen in part 7, Dio returns.
Not just in I'll be honest, episode 9 might be one of my favorite episodes of the entire series.
Oh god, yes. It's so good.
You have Dio is not only back, he's a little jar now, and he doesn't even really have a plan. No grand scheme. He didn't set up this cruise. He just wants Jonathan's body. Why his body specifically? Wouldn't he hate the man that ultimately brought his reign to an end? No. In one of, how do I put, the one of 2 times, no, one of 3 times in his long career of living and murder, JoJo is the one man that Dio absolutely positively respects.
Yep.
Because he knows that after everything that Dio did, Jonathan came back swinging, and he respects the shit of it. Because this might be pulling too much from it, but I imagine that Dio saw a bit of himself in JoJo's. Like, he got stuck in shitty situations, he was able to, like, punch his way through.
Exactly. Like, he was able to muscle his way through. He didn't have to, like, create this massive cunning plan. I mean, granted, he still had to plan, during fights, but that's a little different than like Dio's cunning plans, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like, it's more like, oh man, how do I say it? Because he even gets mad at his minion for talking down on JoJo. He's just
which is one of my favorite Dio moments.
Yeah, he's just like, you're gonna shut up. Like, this is the only man I can ever respect in my entire life.
You are to address Jonathan as if you were addressing me.
Yeah, which no, that kind of happened. And also shows Dio being as smart as he is, and just how smart he is, because the one time, like the one actual time he fought JoJo with Hamon, he was able to figure out what it was and figure out how to get rid of it.
Yeah, and he even planned that with the first encounter. It's like, I could just freeze, but now that I lost my freezing capabilities, what's the one thing that I haven't done yet? Surprise lasers. There was something else I wanted to. Oh yeah, the Dio love tier, the top 10 people that Dio like. Number 10, Vanilla Ice. Number 9, Vanilla Ice the rapper, or the stand user. Number 8, probably the women that he met. The ones that were able to birth his genes.
God, he has what, 4 or 5 kids?
Yeah.
Damn.
And that's not even counting the ones that probably
that we know of.
That we know of.
Man, he got busy in the 80s.
He did. And then
wait, how long was he alive?
Since the 80s, late 80s. So he got fucking busy in 10 years?
Okay, so he was alive 10 years. Okay.
I'm pretty sure, because Star Wars Crusaders was 1999 or something.
What? No, I thought that was the 80s.
Or 89. Fuck! I'll look into it.
Yeah. Because doesn't part 4 happen in 99?
Crazy summer. Yeah, it does. Alright, I was wrong. Alright, 89. Fucking whatever.
Okay.
Whatever! We're doing it live. Fuck you.
Yeah, we'll
the point I want to make.
Yeah, we'll come to that road when we cross it, when we talk about his offspring.
The point I want to make is that number 4 is Poochie.
Yes.
Numbers 3 and number 2 are unspecified. They are literal placeholders. Number 1 is Jonathan.
Exactly. But yeah.
It's one of the best Dio scenes because it shows him being humble, in a way. And it's like, yeah, I'm choosing you to be my body because you are literally the only person I can respect in this fucking abysmal world that I will put into.
And while they're having this fun little chat, Erina does show up, and oh no, the boat is also infested by zombies.
Which is part of Dio's like. I don't even want to say it's like an ingenious like master plan with tons of setup. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna infect everyone on this boat so that Jonathan is utterly surrounded. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna do our best. All right.
Yeah.
Break.
If anything, this just goes into Dio's whole experimenting kind of thing, because since he has such an interest with Jonathan, he's just like, okay, what can I do this time?
What can I do
What-
to take him alive?
Oh God, I dare I say it? It's kind of I don't know how people will take this statement. It's kind of Joker Batman-esque. Like, how far can I push him? Can I break him?
I don't know if
In
he
a
wants
way.
to well, that was like definitely in the younger days. Nowadays, like
Oh,
when
yeah.
he wants the body, it's like, I'll just go for the killing blow. But if I have to be really brutal with him, fine. Wan
Yeah.
Chang, I failed in slicing off his neck with my lasers. Go for a clean cut, please.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like, it's constant experiments with it, which is like, now that he's done with the experimenting of, okay, can I break him? It's like, okay, what can I do with that now? Because now that he has eye lasers, he's like, okay, I think I've reached the pinnacle of what I think I can do, and I've kind of lost everything I'm able to do. You, the man I respect the most, give me your body.
Please.
Please. Spare
If only he
a
said
cup
please.
of body. Spare a cup of body, please.
Dude, if only he said please, it might have gone better.
It might have, but yeah. His minion dies because JoJo again
Outsmarts everyone.
outsmarts.
That's another thing that people like constantly underestimate about, like, oh, Jonathan is just a meathead. It's like, did you guys watch the part? He's pretty smart.
Again, it's the tenacity that we end up seeing in all of the JoJo's.
And it's thanks to that resourcefulness that he, holds on to. Like I mentioned before, he to defeat god damn it, why am I already blanking on his name? Big Jiren Knight. There, did it.
Yeah, close enough.
Turkos. Tarkle, the fire Pokemon. It's basically like, oh, I have to be Blueford, god damn it, fuck. Not like he is very resourceful. He remembers, like, wait, I remember this name of the town. It's a mining town, which means this area, if I'm underwater and this area is submerged, then there's probably a pocket of air that I could use. And that's true. Pockets of air do exist underwater. All right, mine for the taking. Wow.
Yeah, thank you for the explanation.
You're welcome.
So, ship ends up starting to blow up and catch on fire.
No.
And
we don't have to talk about this part, do we?
I mean,
do it.
this is what makes it kind of bittersweet.
I don't want to do it. He lived in my book.
I mean, JoJo dies.
No.
The only survivors of this boat were Erina and a little baby. Or two little babies.
we need to have a little chat about his death. Like, Jonathan tells, like, in this very sad goodbye to his wife of, like, what, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
It's like, Arena, you need to protect that baby. Do your best, alright? Just do it for me, because I want you to live. I know that you want to be with me, but I can't be with you.
Yep.
You need to go right now, please. He does, with no regrets. Because that's pretty much what Jonathan makes Arena promise him. It's like, no regrets, okay? None.
Yep. And as he's saying and, like, doing this, he's just cradling Dio's screaming head in his arms.
Let me out, you bitch!
Yeah. And, like, you just see this solemn, sad, dead carcass holding this
Still
screaming-
smiling.
Yep. with the little tears in his eyes. It's just so good. At least he was able to pork Erina before he died.
And he was able to go out smiling amidst everything. And he even says, like, Dio, you're a piece of shit, but I still somehow view you as a brother despite everything you've done.
Yep.
Keeping that gentleman code to its literal last breath.
Because that's the thing, they spent 7 years. He basically spent like more than 7 years.
He
in
spent the
hell.
majority of his life with Dio.
Yeah. Like,
That's the sucky part.
and that's why he was the only one that could fight Dio. Because they had that connection. I mean, even Speedwagon, when Dio dies, like, Poco, who's the little boy who follows them, he just looks at not a defeated JoJo, a very tired, worn out JoJo after this fight with Dio, and he's shedding a tear. And Poco's like, oh, why is he shedding a tear? And that's when, Speedwagon says just what Trevor said. Like, they had spent some time together, and in a way, JoJo still thought of Dio kind of like a brother, and for JoJo, this was kind of a sad thing to do. But, Speedwagon, he could just jump for joy and sing to the heavens and all that, but...
Screams hallelujah.
But it's just different. And...
He swims to the wreckage of the boat, starts teabagging the planks.
Get the fuck off me!
Take this, Dio. But it's beautifully done.
It is fantastic. I will be more than happy to admit, I don't cry at this part anymore because I've seen it quite a few times. But on the first 3 watches, I have cried every time that I saw him die. It's like, man, because it's what could have been, It's just that evil curse of Dio. And that mask, that infernal stone mask.
Well, we can talk about that stone mask at a later date. We could also talk about the real fallout to all of this at a later date. Because that's the end of part 1.
No, it isn't.
We see Erina just floating on the ocean.
She floats on the ocean. And if you pan the camera to the right, you see a pink-haired man getting impaled by a girl. While a priest is flying around going...
At the same time, you see a blonde man in a pink outfit just spin in and out of the universe.
You've been Giorno for a second. It's like, man, please help me for your country.
Wait, you're heading to my country?
Take me with you, I'll beg of you. I have a free neck.
Oh no, not the next one. Ends up in the South Park universe where Kenny dies.
He becomes Kenny.
Oh my god, that's how Kenny keeps coming back.
Because he's funny.
Oh, it all makes sense now. It's not because of some Cthulhu ritual thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you don't know about that? That was in the superhero episode.
No, I'm just having the image of Funny Valentine being brought back by Cthulhu. It's like, very workshop.
Hey, how you doing? Look, I'll stop your spinning for right now. Just
at least until Eyes of Heaven comes out.
Yeah. We keep spoiling part 7 for people, but I don't care.
No, we don't.
Read part 7.
We can say any JoJo's spoiler we can, but it does nothing for context.
Jesus.
Exactly. What if I told you all that you can give birth to Jesus' head? What are you gonna do with that information?
Oh, God.
Fucking nothing.
No.
You can't do anything with that.
I have to process that again. I'm gonna have to process that in anime form.
I can just walk on rain. What? How does that work? Fuck you.
Oh.
So long as I'm between a door and a wall, I'm invincible.
I can just turn into skin.
But
yeah, so that's part 1. Yay.
Really good.
like I said earlier, I give it a. I mean, this score is based just around all the other JoJo's. My little 7 out of 10, but like that's just compared to everything else that happens. Like part one is the perfect blueprint because Araki gives you everything you're gonna need for the entire series. Even when stands get introduced, like you know what the JoJo's are gonna be like, or at least you know their baseline, like where all that determination comes from, like how they get that inner fire in them. Like they're each lions in their own right.
The will
So
of fire.
Exactly. Everything that happens in the first 6 parts are because of Dio.
Yep. And
Like,
Jonathan is the one to pull him back in.
yeah, and it's always a JoJo to just that has to end everything with Dio.
If it takes an American or an Asian or a Japan or another Asian and an Italian and a Floridian, that's why the universe is doomed. Fucking the universe was kept in the hands of a Floridian.
Yeah, everything turned out fine
Man,
after a certain point.
Man, part one, like just talking about it makes me love it even more.
Oh yeah.
Like compared to the media that we've seen, especially in recent years, where like 98% of it has been shit, where it's like, yeah, this is probably like a 1 or 2 at most.
Yeah.
Fucking Here Comes JoJo Part 1. It's like, I'm probably giving it a 7. Does a lot of stuff right for what it does, for what it is. It's really, really nice.
Yeah. I guess the only flaw I really like, the biggest flaws for me is just, it mainly has to do with just the side characters, because like, and it's not against like Zeppeli or Speedwagon because they're pretty good side characters, but like Zeppeli's mates, for example, as I'm gonna call them, I can barely remember their names for one, and I just rewatched this. Like, yeah. I remember Straight, I can still remember that one because he actually has a part to play. But like, they're barely on screen for any good amount of time. I mean,
we're formidable though. Believe us.
He died so easily.
We're formidable. We promise.
It's Trevor. It's the Worf effect. They were the Worfs.
Yeah, like what's really nice about this little part is that with our issues, they're not even like these gaping plot issues. Like nothing like really screams out like, this is horrible. What the fuck have you done? Nothing too damaging. If anything, the issues we have are like, how do I put this? Like stretches to the plot, or like little itty bitty damages to it, like little tears in a shirt. It's like, ah, damn, this little tear doesn't ruin the shirt. It's just noticeable. That's all.
And plus, I say my criticism with like the side characters, but I do also understand that like that's kind of not the point with part one. It's to show it is the Dio and Jonathan show. Like, we need that solidified so we know exactly what's about to happen in the next 6 parts.
The Dio and I don't know why I thought this meme. The Dio and Jonathan show, featuring Ario Speedwagon from the Devil May Cry series.
Oh my god!
And Knuckles.
Why and Knuckles?
Cause Knuckles.
Fucking Knuckles just comes out of a Pokeball.
Honestly, Knuckles could probably solo most of JoJo, if I'm being honest.
Look, that's a whole different topic for another day.
I like how we ended this on Knuckles.
I know. It should always end on Knuckles.
Alright, fine. We'll commit to that. I'll hold you to that with every part we do now. Part 2, if we don't have Knuckles featured by the end of the video, then everyone unsubscribe.
Yes.
From Roger's face.
Yeah. Well, I'm not... No. Instead, go subscribe to Trevor. He'll release a video eventually.
Hey. As soon as I dig myself out of this rabbit hole that Splash Mountains on the South have dug for me, you'll see a video. I am like 14 pages out of 69 edited, And then when all that's done,
not
I just
bad.
had to do voiceovers for everything.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and oh well, I mean, I still have to find all the movie clips too, like, because I'm only taking care of the complicated edits right now. And the nice thing is that when it comes to the ride stuff, like anything having to do with the ride or the movie, I could just pull that shit up easy. It's not as hard as like, what clip from Revenge of the Sith can I use to match this random line of dialogue I have?
So make sure you subscribe over there, because sometimes Trevor streams at least.
In
So-
fact, yeah, I'll stream and there might be something else coming.
Oh.
It's a video on everyone's favorite rubber boy and his latest escapade into Imagination Land.
Oh no. Oh no.
But it's a very soft if. That's why I said there might be something. Who knows?
Okay. Well,
It depends on if someone wants to collaborate or not. But if not, oh well, I'll can it for another day.
All right. We'll look forward to that then. And
Yeah, well, I'll stream again very soon.
yeah,
It's a guarantee at this point.
exactly. But yeah, let us know your JoJo thoughts down in the comments below, and the whole YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe, that BS.
Rate
it.
the video, or else
It's-
Elon Musk will give you more power on Twitter.
Make sure to aura that like button. Get it? Because JoJo. And
If you subscribe to
Sunlight
Walk-ins, then
Overdrive.
you'll have a golden experience
in this stone ocean.
of shit content.
Okay, all right, we're done there. Knuckles, take us out.
I don't need you. Better things are calling on the way.